I'd like you both to hear from a woman who lives in North Glen, who told us that she's voted in the past, but actually is not planning on voting this year. She and her husband have their hands full. They're really struggling to keep their small business running. Her name is Zulema Talamantes.
He estado aquí en Colorado por más de 20 años. Mi esposo y yo tenemos una pequeña compañía de construcción. El principal tema de preocupación que tenemos es que las pequeñas empresas no tienen tanto apoyo del gobierno o de asociaciones para salir adelante en tiempos difíciles y es complicado mantener una compañía porque todo sale de nuestras bolsas.
Ms. Kirkmeyer, I would love to hear what you would say to Zulema and to other small business owners in the 8th about what the federal government could and should be doing to help them.
I would say this, and being a former small business owner myself, government needs to get out of the way of how we run our businesses or how they run their businesses. The additional mandates, the additional rules, regulations that they're putting on government increases the cost of services, increases the cost of goods, makes it more difficult to be able to run a business. Again, back to the inflation. It's a problem. Back to the Inflation Reduction Act that was just passed, put additional taxes onto small business. I've been endorsed by the National Federation of Independent Businesses because of my small business background, but also because I support them in saying that we shouldn't have passed that bill. It increased taxes on small businesses. So small businesses are bearing the brunt of these inflationary costs. It's making it more difficult also for them to hire workers. We have a worker shortage going on. And again, this is because of poor policies that we have at the federal government level.
Ms. Caraveo, same question to you. What is the role of the federal government in helping small business owners like Zulema and her husband?
Well, thank you, first of all, to the question from Zulema. Muchas gracias por la pregunta. Es una pregunta muy importante. I have consistently made sure that we are voting to support small businesses in Colorado. We cut taxes for small businesses. We made sure that the earned income tax credit and child tax credit, which families like Zulema's family, I'm sure, need, were continued in Colorado. And I have really focused on making sure that we are cutting costs for working families across the board. Importantly, looking at healthcare costs. That is something that a lot of small businesses I know struggle with. And in Colorado, I made sure to support the public option bill, which I will point out my opponent did not support. That is something that is going to create pressure on insurance companies in Colorado to make sure that we're lowering costs for families like Zulema's.
Please.
I would just point out that my opponent, Yadira, voted for the largest property tax increase in the state of Colorado with the mill levy equalization bill. Increased property taxes higher than a local government would done. It basically was about $145 million through this next year, and it just keeps growing and keeps adding on. That's a cost that businesses have to figure out how to soak up because they have a larger assessment ratio, they're paying more taxes. With regard to healthcare, public option, I'm just going to remind my opponent again that in 2017, this state voted against universal health care, voted against the public option bill, basically. So again, we want to help business out, stop with the mandates, stop with the overburdensome regulations.
The public option bill is not universal health care. It is actually very different, and as a doctor I can really go into the details of how different this is. What this does is places pressure on the market to make sure that insurance companies are not charging exorbitant fees, that there is a proper pressure to make sure that the market is working and that we're making sure to place pressure to lower those costs.
And do you care to address what she said about a tax increase?
You know, I have consistently voted to lower taxes on working families. I voted to lower taxes on small businesses, and I will continue to do so in Congress.